Hey there, it's Carrie Rose here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and a brand new card making video. In today's video, I am taking a die set meant for Christmas. It's the Slimline Hanging Ornament panel die from Trinity Stamps, and I'm going to use it two different ways, bringing brand new life to this Christmas die set. I'm going to be making some cake pops and some balloons out of this die set. So let's jump on in and see how these two cards come together. All right, here's a close-up look at that hanging Christmas ornament die set. It does have a little die so you can cut out ornament hangers for them. And here's a look at a card I made using it as a Christmas die. You can see those hangers there, and I made the little openings shakers. But today I'm going to die cut this from some textured white cardstock, so I'm not going to do anything to the background. And look at this die cut. It has an etched border around the outer edge. Yeah, I love it. So I have some rainbow paper here from two different paper packs from Trinity Stamps. I have them linked for you below along with all the other supplies I'm using. And I'm going to die cut this with the same die, but just try to get one circle. Now I did end up needing two because I did end up making two cards because I had a second idea for this, but this first card is going to be the cake pops. So I have glued a sturdy piece of cardstock behind this so I can glue in my die cut circles from that patterned paper, and I'm putting them in rainbow order. You know, when in doubt about what color to use on your card, just go rainbow, right? I'm die cutting this also from brown cardstock so I can get all of those circles, and I'm going to use these to fussy cut some chocolate drizzle to go on top of my cake pops. Now, if you're not familiar with cake pops, it is a baked cake that is crumbled into tiny crumbs and mixed with a batch of frosting, rolled into a ball, dipped into chocolate candy melt. Yeah, it's delicious. If you've never had one, go get one, like today, right now. Pause the video, go get a cake pop. They're that good. All right, so I am not going to use the die that comes with this for the stick, but you could. I wanted my stick to be a little bit bigger. So this is about 3/8 of an inch strip of cardstock in craft brown, and I'm gonna glue these right below the cake pop, and then I'll trim off the excess and use those little pieces for the shorter cake pops. And when you, serve cake pops, they're on a stick like this, and then you kind of stick them in styrofoam, and so this is like totally reminds me of a cake pop display. I've made them lots of times, and they are a huge hit with everyone, kids, adults. They're super yummy, and they're not too big, but pretty filling. So yeah, it's a good thing. I'm going to now coat the chocolate with some glaze to make it really shiny, and it helps it look like drippy, you know. These special things I am putting on top are called birthday cake sprinkles. They're from the Trinity Stamps shop. They're not real. They are not edible, but they give these cake pops the look of being real, and it makes me so happy. Like, this is the thing that puts these cake pops over the top into the land of super cuteness. Am I right? I might be tooting my horn a little too much, but I love them. So now let's make a little scene. I'm using the Cozy Sweet Shop. I'm using the little bear and a cake pop. And then I have this kitchen set that has a little bear in it as well. And you can see how well they coordinate together. I love that. There's a few other of these Cozy Bear sets too, so you can make different scenes with them. I have stamped them onto some white cardstock with some Copic friendly black ink, and I'm coloring them with my Copics. I have E33 and E35 for their fur, and then E27 for their noses and my little tiny cake pop. I'm going to color out their clothes, giving them both some jeans with B24, and then I'm going to do one with a bright pink shirt and one with a yellow shirt. And then I will have their shoes match their shirt just to keep it simple. And you can see all the marker colors I use there. It's very simple Copic coloring. They're small images, easy to color, and I keep my Copic coloring pretty simple. So now it's time to add some white gel pen highlights. It just helps bring them to life. Plus, I love to give them little freckles on their cheek. There they are, and then I die cut them out. One of them I had to fussy cut. I wonder if you can tell, because I don't have the die set for one of those. Now I'm popping these up onto my card with some foam squares, and they're in this, candy world, but we better make it really, really sweet. So I'm going to bring in some clay elements from the Trinity stamp shop. Look at these rainbow candy canes. Oh my gosh, they are so very cool. Um, these particular ones are not available in the shop, but there's some like so super similar. I'm going to link those for you below, as well as these jelly bean dreams. These, again, not edible, but really close. They look really close to edible. And so just be careful if you have kids, they might think they're really something to eat, but they are the cutest, lightweight little element to add to this candy scene. And I filled in the gaps with some more sprinkles. Now it's time for our sentiment from that Cozy Sweet Shop set. And it says, "You're the sweetest." I'm going to emboss it with white powder on that dark brown cardstock that I used for my drizzle with white powder. And so that's really going to pop and add a nice touch on the corner of this card. I'm going to flag cut the end. I just cut up the middle and then cut from the corner to the top of the snip on both sides. And that gives me that flag cut, really quick and easy to do. I die cut out the center of this rainbow panel so I didn't waste it, because this is just going to be the edge of my card. And I made this a little bit bigger than 8.5 by 3.5 so that I had a border all the way around. So I just take my card base, I die cut it to 8 3/4 by 7.5 and score it at 3 3/4. So it is a little bit bigger. It will still fit in a business size envelope, and the little scrap I trimmed off makes the perfect little accent for the inside of the card as well. So if you are wanting to use all your 8.5 by 3.5 inch dies, that's a good size if you want to border all the way around. All right, let's move on to card number 2 and make some balloons. So for a balloon card, I'm going to start with a sky background. I have some tumbled glass Distress Oxide ink. I didn't realize it was off the screen there. And I'm using the Puffy Cloud stencil from Trinity Stamps. It is a slimline stencil and it has clouds on the side you can use for like an A2 size card. So what I like to do is use my cloud stencil, clean it off, and flip it over. And by flipping it over, you kind of have 4 different looks of clouds. So I like to do that. And 4 rows of clouds is like the perfect fit for a slimline card. Perfect. So I'll do that 4 times. And then I also like to do just a dusting of the blue on the white parts at the bottom. Now we can die cut that out using this hanging ornament die. And I've got my balloons. I'm doing the same exact thing I did before. Same exact papers in the same order. And these are going to now be balloons. So they need a little, triangle part at the bottom where they were tied off. So I'm just fussy cutting this. I guess I'm like all into cutting my own things today with the drizzle and now this, but they're pretty easy to do. And I used to be. I used to be pretty self-critical about things like this, and I decided to let that go. Life is too short, and I know when you look at this, you're not judging if they're all the same size or if they're perfect, right? And nobody's doing that to your cards either. So you have my permission to let go of some perfectionism today. It's very freeing. All right, here's my little bear. He's going to be dangling from one of these balloons, so we need to give him a string to hold on to. So I'm going to use actual string. And if you don't know where to find actual string, they have it at the craft stores, but try your thrift store. I find string all the time at the thrift store because it's a giant spool and people don't know what to do with string. So use it for your card making. I just tied a little bow and cut one end very short, left the other end long, and I'm wrapping that end around to the back of the card. And the little bow I just glued down with a dot of liquid glue. So he's going to hold on to this yellow balloon and be floating up into the sky. And this reminded me of something in elementary school that I hadn't thought of in a really long time. But in elementary school, which we no longer do, we actually tied a note to our balloons, and as a class each let a balloon go, a helium balloon, into the sky. And what we put on the note was, if you find my balloon, would you write me a letter back? And somebody found my balloon and wrote back to me that this balloon had got caught on a fence in their pasture of cows, I believe, and they found it and they sent me the like balloon scraps. It was very exciting when you're like in 3rd grade, you know? So I decided to put some little notes sending my love onto those balloons. I have another rainbow pattern that I die cut the center from so I could use again on a different card. And then I have this cool rainbow border around the edge of my card. And again, my card is 8 3/4 by 7.5, scored at 3 3/4. So I can have this extra border around it. And I love that. It just really draws your eye in. Okay, to embellish this card, you can see I've pulled out all of my hearts from Trinity Stamps. They have them, as you can see, in all the colors. I used red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. There's also white and black and clear. And Trinity Stamps also has some clay hearts. So I'm going to link these things for you below. But if you have never checked out the Trinity Stamps embellishments, ooh, you're in for a treat. They have so many things in all the colors. I love it. So I am adding that little strip die cut or just cut off of that pattern paper to the inside on this card as well. And there are my 2 cards using a Christmas die in a different way. So I encourage you, pull out your dies and maybe try to use your imagination and think what else you could use them for, because this die just like it upped its value in the craft room now because I can use it for so many other things. I mean, you could probably think of other things you could use this die for. If you can, leave it in the comments below so we can all see, and then maybe I'll make one of them. Who knows? So thank you so much for stopping by and letting me share my cards with you. It is my favorite thing to do. And happy stamping. I'll see you all again on the next one. Bye.